So now onto the tentacles. This is where things can get a little bit tricky, but remember, just go slow and watch the same part a couple of times if you're getting stuck. So it says this part, the tentacles, this part of the pattern is made using rows. Rejoin the yarn onto the front loop of any stitch from round 23. You will be working these sections back and forth in rows. Rejoin the yarn into the next stitch from where you finished off the last tentacle. So rows 1 to 18. So for 18 rows, using purple yarn, we're going to attach the yarn, chain 1, double crochet in the same stitch as the beginning chain 1, 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches and turn. So what we're going to do, we're going to attach our yarn into a stitch, and we're going to single crochet in that same stitch. We're then going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do that for 18 rows. So we're always going to have a total of 3 stitches for 18 rows. So here's the purple yarn, and I'll show you how I'm going to attach it. I'm going to do a slip knot onto my hook. I'm then going to bring in the octopus head, and I'm going to insert my hook into the front loops left. So you can see all the, especially if you fold the work in, all these front loops have been left exposed from when we did a previous row in the back loop. So we're going to be working in these front loops that are left. So I have slip knot onto my hook, insert my hook into a stitch, well, the front loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. So there are 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both of these loops. Nearly lost the stitch, can I save it? Come on, haha, I saved it. So we have joined our yarn, and we have also done a single crochet in that first stitch. So now I'm going to single crochet across 2. 1 and 2. Then so we have 3 stitches, 3 single crochets, going to chain 1, turn my work, and that was row 1. So row 2 is single crochet across 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and turn. Row 3, single crochet across 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and turn. And we're going to follow that pattern all the way up to 18 rows. So we're going to single crochet across 3, chain 1 and turn until 18 rows. And I'll meet you back here when I've finished and I am ready to go on to row 19. So that was row 4. So there we have 18 rows. So we're on to row 19, and it says chain 1, which we've already done because we chain 1 to turn. It wants us to double crochet 2 stitches together, double crochet 1 and turn for a total of 2 stitches. So we are going to single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet 1 and turn for a total of 2 stitches. So we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to single crochet normally 2 stitches together, single crochet in 1. So we have 2 stitches, chain 1 and turn. Then row 20 says double crochet in the same stitch as the beginning chain, double crochet in the next stitch and turn. So what row 20 wants us to do is to single crochet across the 2 stitches that we have, chain 1 and turn for a total of 2 stitches. So single crochet 2, 1 and 2, chain 1, 1 and 2, chain 1 and turn. Row 21 says double crochet 2 together for 1 stitch. So we're going to single crochet the last 2 stitches together for 1 stitch, then fasten off but leave a long yarn tail on each tentacle. Repeat steps 1 to 21 until you have made 8 tentacles. With it saying leave a long tail, I have a horrible feeling that we're going to have lots of sewing to do a little bit later. but let's follow what it tells us to do. So single crochet the last 2 stitches together. For 1 stitch, chain 1, leave a long tail because we're going to need that later for some reason. Pull through, and there is 1 tentacle done. So now we're going to repeat all the instructions we made for this tail, this tentacle, by going straight into the next stitch, the next unworked stitch on the front loops. So the very next stitch of this tentacle. So we're going to rejoin our yarn, single crochet 3, and then we're going to do 18 rows of single crochet and decrease as needed. As everything we've just done, you're going to repeat again 8 times. So you may need to rewind and play the instructions for this one tentacle a couple more times till you remember, and I'll meet you back here when all 8 of my tentacles are made. So I have finished all 8 of my tentacles, and they all have long tails attached because I've read a little bit further in the pattern, and we will be sewing the bottom of the tentacles onto the top. So these tails are going to be really, really useful shortly. Now to make the underside of the tentacles, it says using pink yarn, make a magic ring and work 6 double crochet into ring. So basically it wants us to do 6 single crochets into a magic ring, and I'm going to do my version of a magic ring, which is a slip knot onto hook, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 6 single crochets into the second chain, 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Round 2 says 2 double crochets to end, so we're going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch until the end of the round, which will give us 12 stitches. So into that first stitch we're going to increase for 1 and 2. Into the next we're going to do 3 and 4. Into the next 5 and 6. Into the next 7 and 8. Into the next 9 and 10. And then into the last stitch 11 and 12. Round 3 says 1 double crochet followed by 2 double crochet to end. So we are going to single crochet 1 and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch, and we're going to do that to the end of the round, which will give us 18 stitches. So single crochet for 1, increase in the next stitch for 2 and 3. Single crochet 4, increase in the next for 5 and 6. Single crochet 7, increase for 8 and 9 in the next. Single crochet 10, increase in the next for 11 and 12. Single crochet 13, increase in the next stitch for 14 and 15. Single crochet 16, increase in the last stitch of this round for stitches number 17 and 18. Round 4 says 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2 double crochet to end. So we are going to single crochet into 2 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch to the end of the round, which will give us 24 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet 1 and 2, then increase in the next stitch for 3 and 4, then single crochet 5 and 6, increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8, single crochet 9 and 10, increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12, single crochet 13 and 14, increase in the next stitch for 15 and 16, single crochet 17, 18, increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20, then single crochet 21, 22, and increase in the last stitch for 23 and 24. So now we're going to start to make the tentacles, or the underneath of the tentacles. So I'm going to show you how to do one of these, and then you're going to have to go away and do the remaining 7 by following the same instructions again. So what I would suggest is take a note of the time of this video now, and then you know where to rewind to shortly when you need to make the rest. So it tells us you will be working the next sections back and forth in rows, rejoining the yarn in the next stitch from where you finish off the last tentacle. Rows 1 to 5, chain 1, 1 double crochet into the same stitch as the beginning chain 1, 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, 10, for a total of 3 stitches. So what we are going to do it for 5 rows, we're going to we're going to single crochet 3, chain 1 and 10, and we're going to do that 5 rows. So single crochet 3, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and 10. That was row 1. Let's do that again. Single crochet 3, 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and 10. That was row 2, so let's do row 3. 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and 10. Now on to row 4. 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and 10. And now row 5. 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and 10. So row 6 says sing 1 double crochet in the same stitch as the beginning chain, make bobble, 1 double crochet. So we are going to single crochet in the first stitch, then we're going to make the bobble in the second stitch, and then single crochet in the third stitch, then we're going to chain 1 and 10. So we're going to single crochet into the first stitch, and now we're going to make the bobble. So to make the bobble, we're going to yarn over, insert hook into stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So there are 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, insert hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So there are 5 loops on my hook, and we're going to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So there are 7 loops on my hook. Yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, and then we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, chain 1 and 10. And for rows 7 to 9, 7, 8, 9, it says repeat row 1. So for 3 rows we're going to single crochet across, chain 1 and 10. So 3 rows we're going to single crochet 3, chain 1 and 10. So single crochet across once, twice, and one more time. You can see our little bobble stitch from earlier, so it just protrudes ever so slightly. I think they make the suckers. So now we are up to row 10, which tells us to repeat row 6, and row 6 told us to single crochet 1, make a bobble in the next stitch, and then single crochet in the last stitch. So row 10, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, then we're going to wrap yarn round hook, insert hook into stitch, yarn over and pull up, wrap again, yarn around hook, insert hook into stitch, yarn over, pull up, and we're going to do that one more time, yarn over, insert hook into stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So we have 7 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops, then single crochet in the last stitch. So row 11 to 13, 11, 12, 13 says to repeat row 1. So we're going to single crochet across, chain 1 and 10, and we're going to do that for 3 rows. So 3 rows of single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Then row 14 tells us to repeat row 6. So we're going to do another bobble. We're going to single crochet in the first stitch, make a bobble in the second stitch, and single crochet in the last stitch. So row 14, we're going to single crochet 1, make a bobble, yarn over, insert hook into stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert hook into stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert hook into stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 7 loops on hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 stitches, then single crochet into the last stitch of this round. Then rows 15 to 17, so for 3 rows repeat row 1. So for 3 rows we're going to single crochet across, chain 1 and turn. So another 3 rows of single crochet. That was row 1. Row 2 and row 3. And now we're up to row 18, which tells us to repeat row 6. And row 6 was to single crochet in the first stitch, make a bobble in the second stitch, and single crochet into the last stitch. So single crochet 1, and then let's make a bobble, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up. So there are 7 loops, yarn over, pull through all 7, single crochet into the last stitch. Now row 19, decrease, double crochet 2 together, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, turn. So we are going to single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet in the next stitch, chain 1 and turn for a total of 2 stitches. So we're going to single crochet the first 2 stitches together, and then single crochet in the last stitch, chain 1 and turn. Row 20 says 1 double crochet in the same stitch as the beginning, chain 1, 1 double crochet in the next stitch and turn. So we're just going to single crochet across these 2 stitches. So we're just going to single crochet 2, chain 1 and turn. And then our last row, row 21, says decrease. So we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together, and it'll leave us with 1 stitch, and then it says fasten off and weave in all ends. And then repeat 1 to 21. So repeat rows 1 to 21 to make all the tentacles. So we're going to single crochet our last 2 stitches together, chain 1, and then cut this yarn tail. And there is the first bottom of the tentacle. So if I turn it to the side, you can see the bobbles better. And what we're going to have to do in a little bit, because this pattern hates us, we're going to have to sew all the bottoms of the tentacles onto the top, so it'll look like this. So I've made 1 tentacle. Now we need to rejoin our yarn in the next stitch and repeat everything I've just done again. So repeat all of this again to make a second and then a third, then a fourth, all the way to 8 tentacles. And then I'll meet you back here when we have the grueling task of sewing the bottom part of the tentacle onto the top. So we'll see you soon. I have made the bottom part now to the octopus also, and I'm going to start attaching. So I'm looking at the making up part, and it says attach the eyes to the front, which we haven't made the eyes yet, but line up top and bottom sections of the tentacles and sew together using the yarn tails. They should naturally curl. So they want us to sew the bottom, so the pink section, with the bobble stitches facing down. They want us to use the tails from the purple and sew these together. And what I've noticed straight away is that the pink sections tend to be too big for the purple, and this isn't because there's more rows. Look how long that looks. This is because the pink yarn felt thicker and it wasn't the same weight, the same yarn weight as the purple yarn. So when I'm sewing together, or when you are also sewing yours together, you're going to have to be really mindful that you're going through consecutive stitches on both sides to make sure that they align. So if you see how much extra pink yarn there is there compared to the purple, so that's a bit of a nuisance, but I'm going to go straight into trying to join these together. And you can use whatever method you want. You can use your clip markers at this point, but I'm literally just going to start sewing. So I'm going to sew this tentacle to this tentacle, and I'm going to start by going through the tip, and then I'm going to hold them sideways together, and I'm going to move you out of the way. I'm going to use whip stitch, so I'm literally just going to go down sewing them together, and I'm making sure to maneuver the needle and the fabric as I need to, and the yarn as I need to. I'm just going to go all the way down the side, going through consecutive stitches on both pieces. I keep checking, I keep reorganising my work, because even though the pink looks longer, it still has the same amount of rows as the purple, and we want to make sure as we're sewing together we're going through the same row, either for example the 5th row of both pieces or the 6th row of both pieces. So I'm going to sew as far as this bit of yarn will let me, and then when it stops I'll move on to the next piece of yarn. So I'm repositioning all the time. Let's move you in. It looks like an absolute mess at the minute, but once all these tails are weaved in, and once all the legs are sewn together, it won't look so bad. It'll actually hopefully look really good, like an octopus. So I'm coming to the bottom, and then when we get to this gap in between, I'm going to sew the 2 stitches together from the gap, and now I'm going to hold the next 2 pieces together, and start making my way up the side of the next tentacle. I'll keep going till this piece of yarn runs out and show you how I fasten off with it, and then I will go ahead and sew these all together and meet you back when it's done. But I'll keep going until this piece ends. Just remember to constantly be repositioning your yarn and checking that it's going correctly. So stop for a minute and just check that the tails are still the right length. Okay, so I'm going to fasten off on this next stitch. So I'm going to not finish that stitch, and I'm going to make a small knot, and then I'm going to weave in that tail and cut. So now I'm going to pick up the yarn tail from the next tentacle, and I'm going to continue to sew with that. I finally finished all the sewing. Mr. Octopus now just needs his eyes. So if I bring back in the pattern book, and to make eyes it says round 1, using white yarn make a magic ring, work 6 double crochet into ring for a total of 6 stitches, with grey yarn embroider an eye to the bottom of the circle, fasten off but leave a long tail, repeat to make second eye. So with white yarn, I'm going to do 6 single crochets into a magic ring, or my version of. Then I'm going to sew the eyes into place on the octopus, and then with the grey yarn I'm going to sew on the pupil. So I'm going to move that out the way. I'm going to bring in the white yarn and try and find the end. There we go. And I need to make 2 of these, so I'm going to slip knot onto hook. I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to do 6 single crochets into the second chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch to join, chain 1 and fasten off, leaving a long yarn tail to sew it onto the head. So I'm going to make another one of them. Slip knot onto a hook, chain 2, 1 and 2, 6 single crochet into the second chain from hook. Then slip stitch into the first stitch to join, chain 1 and fasten off and pull through. So I'm going to bring the octopus back in, and with the initial tail, the starting tail, I'm going to use that to sew the eyes into place, well, to put them into position. So I'm going to do one eye about here, let's have a look. I like it. And then I'm going to do the same with the second eye before sewing them into place. So I'm going to put the second eye just a couple of stitches over. Yep, I'm happy with them. So now I'm going to use the end tail to sew the eyes into place. So I'm just going to attach each of the stitches down. So the octopus's eyes have been sewn on, and I've even done one of the pupils. And I'm going to show you how I made the pupil. So I cut about 6 inches of grey yarn, and I'm going to tie a knot in the middle. I'm going to re-knot, so I'm going to tie another knot on top of that knot 3 more times, so that that little knot gets bigger and bigger and bigger. One more time. And what we've made is a small ball that I'm now going to use as the pupil. So I'm going to pop one of the yarn ends onto my needle and pull that straight through the centre of the eye. And then I'm going to pop the other yarn end onto my needle and do the same thing. I'm going to also pop that straight through the eye. And there is the octopus's eyes. Then all we have to do is trim at the back. And he's complete. And there you have the finished octopus. Final thoughts, I think that for £3.99 this crochet kit wasn't too bad. It was written better than most of the other So Crafty kits that we've tried, so that definitely gives it a plus in the tick column. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. It's free and it really helps me out. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on free crochet tutorials. So other than that, hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye now.